Nubia's jumping into the fray in this year's gaming phone segment with the Neo 3 GT 5G. It's designed for those who want a mix of large battery capacity, decent hardware, and gamer-focused features without breaking the bank. But how does it fare in everyday life? Hello from the other side, CJ here. Let's see what the Nubia Neo 3 GT 5G brings to the table for mobile gamers out there. Let's get right into the video. The Nubia Neo 3 GT stands out right away with its gaming aesthetic design. Our unit is in the limited white hailstone colorway. You get a pair of built-in shoulder triggers that sit along the frame and add console-like controls to mobile gaming, so you can play like this. Pew pew. They're responsive and can be mapped to in-game controls, giving you a new take to mobile shooters and other titles that benefit from extra controls. More on that later. Nubia also added customizable LED lighting to solidify the aesthetic it's after. It adds a futuristic glow when you're gaming, receiving notifications, or even just charging the device. These LEDs aren't just for show. They give the phone a personality that fits right into the gaming lifestyle. You can even tweak the effects in the settings so it can be subtle or as flashy as you want, but it can be too much though if used accidentally, so be careful for those sensitive to strobe lights. The Nubia Neo 3 GT 5G has a limited edition box that includes a dedicated gamepad for added controls, a MagSafe case for easier accessory compatibility, and a handful of themed extras. These inclusions make the limited edition feel more like a complete gaming kit on a budget. For buttons and ports, you have the usual power buttons and volume rocker on the right, accompanied with two shoulder triggers placed on both ends. The top has a mic alone, but the earpiece also acts as a second speaker, while the bottom has the usual USB-C port, a mic, dual SIM card tray, and the main speaker grill. The left side is clean and free of any ports. Up front, you're getting a large 6.8-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED display with up to 120Hz refresh rate and 1300 nits of peak brightness. You can expect colors to be vibrant with deep blacks, which makes everything from watching Netflix to grinding those late RPG sessions look immersive. But you don't get Widevine L1 here sadly, only supporting L3. This means your Netflix binge watching is limited to SD quality or 480p rather than 1080p Full HD. Nonetheless, the screen is sharp enough that text and icons stay crisp, and the big screen makes it easier to track the action in fast-paced games. As mentioned earlier, the audio comes from a stereo speaker setup, which gets reasonably loud, but isn't without its quirks. The highs and mids are clear, but the bass is noticeably light, and when you push the volume to maximum, the sound tends to lose balance and can get a little harsh. For casual use, the speakers are fine, but for anyone serious about gaming or media, a good pair of headphones or earbuds is still the better way to go. Between the fast refresh rate, the vibrant panel, and the sheer size of the screen, the Neo 3 GT's display is surely one of its strongest suits. For biometrics, the phone supports in-screen fingerprint sensor along with face unlock, both of which are quick to unlock the device. While this phone is clearly gaming first, Nubia still included a usable camera setup. On the rear, you'll find a 50-megapixel main camera paired with a 2-megapixel depth sensor, while the front houses a 16-megapixel selfie shooter. In well-lit conditions, the main sensor captures shots with respectable clarity and detail, suitable for your social media needs. Low-light performance, however, is limited, with noise creeping in quickly and dynamic range not being good enough. Some shots also come out a bit too saturated and overexposed for my liking, so you may need to adjust the brightness slider more often than not. Meanwhile, the 16-megapixel front camera gets the job done for selfies and video calls, but won't wow anyone compared to camera-focused devices. Additionally, I noticed that it tends to smoothen skin texture, so keep note of that. For video recording, it can shoot up to 4K at 30 frames per second, but there's no EIS here. If you want some form of stabilization, you'd have to take it down a notch, shooting only at 1080p at 30 frames per second. Here's where all eyes are on the Neo 3 GT. Its performance. It runs on a Unisoc T9100 chipset with 12GB of RAM and 256GB of storage. Day-to-day use is smooth enough, but as expected, there's a slight pause when switching apps. Our benchmarks gives us a clearer picture of what to expect here. The Neo 3 GT 5G scored around 740,000 on Antutu, but is on the lower end for its storage results. Our PCMark Work 3 returned a score of around 13,000, which isn't that bad. You can see the rest of our benchmark scores right here. Now, for the real focus, gaming. The Neo 3 GT 5G can handle a fair variety of titles, but performance can vary depending on how demanding the game is. For example, Uma Musume runs fine for the most part, but you can catch some stutters during the race segments when things get busy on screen. On the other hand, Pokemon Unite and Mobile Legends run smoothly at medium to high settings, making it reliable in competitive matches. Wuthering Waves, though, pushes the hardware more than it should, and you'll notice frame drops that make it hard to enjoy even at the lowest settings. We also tried emulation, and surprisingly, it can play games like God of War, Ghost of Sparta smoothly at 480p. You can up the graphics to 1080p, sure, but expect frame drops to occur. The built-in shoulder triggers help elevate the experience in supported games, giving you extra controls without having to crowd the touchscreen. It might not boost raw FPS, but it does make gameplay feel closer to a handheld console, especially in shooters where quick inputs matter. Overall, the Neo 3 GT isn't designed to match flagship gaming phones with top-tier Snapdragon or Dimensity chips, but it gives a satisfying gaming experience for low-demanding games at least. You'll need to adjust settings for heavier games, but for casual to mid-core players, it holds up well enough. The Nubia Neo 3 GT 5G runs on MyOS 15, which is based on Android 15. Right out of the box, it has gamer-focused tools like performance modes, a game space to manage titles, and controls for the customizable LED lighting at the back. However, the overall experience is not as clean as other Android devices. The UI can feel a bit too cluttered, with options that may take some time getting used to. There's also the issue of bloatware. Nubia pre-installs several apps, and while you can uninstall or disable most of them in the settings, it takes a bit of work to clear things up. It's not the worst case of bloatware we've seen, but it does detract slightly from the focus of the phone. Once you've trimmed down the extra apps and organized the settings, MyOS runs smoothly and provides plenty of customization for gamers and power users alike. If there's one thing the Nubia Neo 3 GT doesn't compromise on, it's battery life. On paper, a huge 6000 mAh battery is usually built to handle long hours of use. However, our PC Mark battery benchmark test tells a different story, garnering only 12 hours and 42 minutes. It falls slightly short of what you might expect from such a large cell. Maybe the chip and MyOS setup might not be squeezing out maximum efficiency compared to other chips like Snapdragon or Dimensity devices. Still, in actual use, the Neo 3 GT more than makes up for it. In our proprietary video loop test, it managed 22 hours and 34 minutes. This was done at 50% brightness and volume while looping 1080p video at 24 frames per second. When it does come time to charge, the 80-watt wired charging kicks in fast. You'll fill the battery back up quickly enough that downtime is never an issue, which is crucial for a device that positions itself as a gaming companion. And yes, it does come with a charging brick and cable. On top of that, it also supports bypass charging to extend battery health further. Connectivity is equally complete with support for 5G, dual SIM, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, and NFC. So, we've come to the end of this video, and now you might be wondering, how much is the phone? At 12,999 pesos, the Nubia Neo 3 GT 5G makes it clear what it's all about. It's a smartphone built with gaming as the top priority, while everything else comes second. The big AMOLED screen is smooth and responsive, the shoulder triggers give you extra control, and the LED lights make it stand out in a way that feels unique. The chip handles daily use and most popular games just fine, although heavier titles do push it to its limits. There's also the MyOS software that can feel a bit cluttered unless you spend some time disabling the extra apps. Still, the battery life more than makes up for those shortcomings. Whether it's long video playback, extended gaming sessions, or all-day use, the 6000 mAh battery holds up well enough, and the 80-watt charging makes it easy to keep going. It's not the most powerful gaming phone out there, sure, but at its price, it offers a combination of features and endurance that make it a compelling choice for anyone who wants a reliable and fun gaming phone on a budget. And that's a wrap for this review. What do you think of the Nubia Neo 3 GT 5G? Will you get it anytime soon? Let us know in the comment section below. If you find this video helpful or informative, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the bell icon so you won't miss out on any of our future uploads. Hit us up on the socials, that's Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok. And visit yogatech.com to stay updated with the latest tech news and reviews. Once again, this has been CJ, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye! See you later!